Greetings and welcome to CITAM ChurchOnline. My name is Reverend Dr. Phidel at Baraza, and I'm so glad that you're watching. And we are continuing our four-part reflection series titled Faith When Life Feels Unfair, Walking with God Through Disability, Caregiving, and Hidden Pain. Today we turn our hearts toward caregivers, and our reflection is titled Grace for the Caregiver, When Love Becomes Heavy. Now, this message is for the parent, the guardian, the spouse, the sibling, the grandparent, the pastor, the ministry worker, or friend who is caring for someone with disability, chronic illness, neurodevelopmental disorder, mental health struggle, age-related frailty, or long-term support needs. It is for the person who loves deeply but is tired deeply. In Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, Jesus gives this tender invitation. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I'll give you rest. Isaiah 40:29 reminds us that God gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. And in Galatians chapter 6, verse 2 calls us to carry each other's burdens. Now, these scriptures remind us that God sees both the person receiving the care and the person giving the care. He sees the one who is weak, and he also sees the one who has been strong for a very long time. Caregiving is love in action. It is sacred. It reflects the heart of Christ. But when you feed, bathe, support, advocate, comfort, protect, teach, carry, and stand with someone who needs care, you are participating in a kind of love that is deeply holy. But caregiving can also be heavy. There are caregivers who have not slept properly in years. There are parents who sleep lightly because they are always listening. There are mothers and fathers constantly planning the next appointment, the next therapy session, the next medical review, the next school meeting, and the next financial need. They are always on a watch out. Will there be a convulsion or sort of thing? There are siblings who grow up learning responsibility early, and their spouses caring for partners. Now, there are grandparents parenting again. There are families quietly stretched beyond what others can see. And sometimes, because caregivers are often praised for being strong, they are not always given permission to be tired or to be weak. But we must say this clearly. Caregivers are human beings. A caregiver can love deeply and still feel exhausted. A caregiver can be grateful and still feel overwhelmed. A caregiver can trust God and still need help. A caregiver can be committed and still need rest. And these are not contradictions. They are part of the human reality of carrying love for a long time. Many caregivers feel guilty when they admit they are tired. A parent may fear that if they say, I'm exhausted, people will think they do not love their child. A spouse may fear that if they ask for help, people will think they are weak. Or a caregiver may fear that if they desire rest, they are being selfish. But tiredness is not the opposite of love. Sometimes tiredness is evidence that someone has been loving consistently, sacrificially, and faithfully for a very long time. So we must remove shame from caregiver fatigue. Burnout is not lack of faith. Needing help is not failure. Rest is not betrayal. In 1 Kings 19, we see the prophet Elijah exhausted under a tree, and he had served God. He had been courageous. He had stood boldly, yet he reached a point of emotional and physical collapse. And what is striking is how God responded. God did not begin by shaming him. God did not lecture him. God did not rebuke him for being tired. God allowed him to sleep, and God provided food. Then Elijah slept again. Then God provided again. Only later did God speak to him about the next assignment. That order is deeply pastoral, and sometimes the most spiritual intervention is rest. Sometimes the person does not need a sermon first. They need sleep. They need food. They need safety. They need someone to sit with them. They need their body. They need their mind and spirit to breathe again. Caregivers need this truth. You are not a machine. You are not God. You cannot carry everything alone, and you were never meant to. And that is why the invitation of Jesus in Matthew 11 is so personal. He does not say, come to me only when you are strong. He does not say, come to me only when you have everything together. He says, come to me all you who are weary and burdened. And that includes caregivers. It includes parents of children with disabilities. It includes those caring for elderly parents. It includes those working with loved ones through chronic illness, mental health struggles, disability, or long-term support needs. It includes those who are emotionally exhausted, but still showing up every day. Caregivers need care too, and the church must take this seriously. It is not enough to admire caregivers. It is not enough to say you are strong. It is not enough to say God will help you while offering no practical support. Cheering is good, but the church must move from admiration and cheering to action, from sympathy to support, from occasional concern to intentional care. And this can look like caregiver support groups. It can look like trained Sunday school teams so that parents of children with disabilities can participate in worship without constant anxiety. It can look like respite care, pastoral counseling, practical help with meals, transport, hospital visits, or school meetings. It can look like small groups intentionally checking on families. It can look like including siblings in pastoral care. It can look like speaking about disability from the pulpit in a way that reduces stigma and restores dignity. It can look like a church culture where caregivers do not feel invisible. We must also be careful how we speak to caregivers. When a caregiver says, I'm tired, do not rush to correct. Do not say, but God is good, as though their tiredness is denying God's goodness. God is good and the caregiver is tired. Both can be true. Instead, we can say, that sounds heavy. I'm sorry you are carrying so much. How can I support you this week? Can I help you in a practical way? Can I sit with your child for a while? Can I bring a meal? Can I pray with you and also walk with you? Caregivers do not need spectators. They need safe people. They need people who will turn their pain into a place where they feel they are safe and not gossip about it. They need people who will not use their story without permission. Who will not use, yeah, it's there. They need people who will not, ama sijaeka hiyo? Yeah, they need people. Yeah, I think I had said that before. They need people who will not use their story without permission. They need people who will protect their dignity. They need people who understand that love must be sustained. And to every caregiver who is listening in today, I want to say this: you are not invisible. Much of what you do may never be uploaded publicly, but God sees it. Every feeding, every night vigil, every hospital visit, every act of advocacy, every sacrifice, every tear, every prayer, every moment you showed up when you had nothing left, God sees and God will bless you. But also hear this: you are not only a caregiver, you are also a person loved by God. Your identity is not only in what you do for others. You are a daughter or a son of God. You are a person with a soul that needs care. You are allowed to receive help. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to be supported. You are allowed to say, I cannot carry this alone, because you are never meant to carry it alone. And as we close today's reflection, I want to remind every caregiver, you are not weak because you're tired. You are human because you have been carrying love for a very long time. May you receive grace not only to continue, but also to rest. And may the church not merely admire caregivers, but actively support them. Thank you for joining me today on CITAM Church Online. And until next time, keep it Christ. God bless you.